Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Dennis Brown. I'm the host of the Freight Broker Bootcamp Live that I do every Monday at noon. Well, I know today's Tuesday. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it yesterday, but the good news is we're going to go live today. We're live now. If you're catching this on replay, awesome. But for those of you that are joining me today, we are going to we're going to do some freight broker sales training. I'm going to teach you some fundamentals that you have to learn. And so the lesson today is how to sell better than the Wolf of Wall Street. So many of you have probably seen that movie. Many of you probably heard of Jordan Belfort and his antics and stories and craziness. I'm going to use that for a teachable moment. But before we do that, we're going to give away a couple prizes. Okay. We're going to try to give away a couple prizes before we go with the live training. So the agenda is we're going to do a free giveaway. Then we're going to do the live training. Then we're going to do live Q&A at the end. Okay. So that's the agenda. That's where we're at. For those of you that are logging on early, you will get a chance to win a prize. I'm probably going to give away another one of my Freightpreneur t-shirts, the highly coveted Freightpreneur t-shirt, someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. And maybe some other prizes. We'll see what happens, see how much time we have. Okay. So we've got a limited amount of time. I'm going to wait for a few people to get live. We got some people that are jumping in now. For those of you that are catching this on replay, hit me up in the comments with hashtag replay. I love to hear from my replay folks, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're streaming this. I really appreciate you being here. And make sure you smash the like button. Hit the like button right now, and then share the stream. Let other people know about it. I can tell you that one of the biggest motivators to get me to come into these free trainings every week, because I do these free week after week after week, is the response I get from you, the number of likes and comments and shares and the engagement. So share the stream, let other people know about it. Greatly appreciate it. And we're going to get started in just a minute. You can see I got a lot of notes to go over for the training today. This is a really good training that I think you guys are going to enjoy. But before we do that, we are going to do a giveaway. So hold tight. We got a bunch of people filing in. All right, cool. So let's jump into the first giveaway. For those of you that have an Apple iPhone, pull your Apple iPhone out right now. Okay. Pull your iPhone out right now. This is the first giveaway. We're going to give away a Freightpreneur t-shirt. You have to be in the United States to participate because I don't ship these overseas. If you're in the United States and you have an iPhone, here's what I want you to do. Go to your podcast app. All you got to do is search podcast under apps and then go in and do a search in the podcast search for Freight Broker Bootcamp. If you search for Freight Broker Bootcamp, what's going to happen is you're going to come up and they're going to show you the Freight Broker Bootcamp podcast with my bald head. You can see it there and the logo. What I want you to do, all you have to do is rate or subscribe, right? Subscribe, follow and subscribe, and then rate and review the podcast. It will literally take you 60 seconds. Once you're done with that, all you got to do is come back into the comments here and let me know exactly this. You got to write this. Apple subscribed, rated, and reviewed. I need to know where you subscribe because we're going to do another contest for non-Apple users, okay? And then I'm going to pick one winner for the free t-shirt. So for Apple users, I want you to go into your iPhone, pull up the podcast app, search for Freight Broker Bootcamp, follow, subscribe, and then rate and review the podcast. It'll take you 60 seconds. Come back in here, and we're going to give away this Freightpreneur t-shirt. Well, not the one I'm wearing, but one just like this to one lucky winner. And then we're going to do another giveaway. Okay. So do that now. It's super, super simple. For those of you that don't know, the podcast is something I launched, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 8 months ago. And it recently was ranked in the top 100 out of all entrepreneur podcasts on Apple. Okay. So I'm really excited about that. I'm proud of that. And I want to thank all of you that have tuned in and made that possible based on subscribing and reviewing and listening. It's an audio only format that you can check out while you're working out. Maybe you're taking a walk. Maybe you're driving. You know, it's a passive audio format. You don't have to be watching it, right? If you're driving, you don't want to be watching a video, but you could definitely still consume some of my best trainings in audio format. And it's 100% free. It costs you zero. Okay. So yeah, check out the Freight Broker Bootcamp audio experience podcast on the Apple iPhone, and then subscribe, rate, and review. Come back in here and let me know that you Apple subscribed, rated, and reviewed. And then I'm going to pick one lucky winner. And right now, as of this moment, We only have one person who's actually done it, Cynthia Moore. So if I were to select a winner right now, it'd be Cynthia, but we got to get a few more people. So if you're an iPhone user, all you got to do is go into the Apple podcast, search for Freight Broker Bootcamp, subscribe, rate, and review, come back into the comments, and I'm going to give away this t-shirt to one lucky winner. So, and don't worry, for those of you that are not Apple users, I am going to do another contest for you where you can win. Okay. So, but Apple is the platform where probably a heavy majority of people listen to podcasts. So I do cater to Apple a little bit, especially considering they rank me in the top 100 of all entrepreneur podcasts, which was very cool and exciting. So we got a couple more people that have subscribed. So we're going to give it let's give it another minute or two. In the meantime, again, for those of you that are joining me late, today we're going to teach some fundamental lessons about freight broker sales that every freight broker and freight agent needs to learn. And I'm going to use the Wolf of Wall Street, the very infamous, well-known movie to kind of do the training, which the training is how to sell better than the Wolf of Wall Street. So during that movie, while you guys are doing this, during that movie, he asks one of the people in the audience, he says, "Sell me this pen." And so we're going to go through that exercise today. It's going to be very cool. I think you're going to enjoy it. And I'm going to actually sell this pen. I'm going to show you how the right way and the wrong way to sell this pen. Okay. So we're going to go through that. But again, we're going to teach you how to sell better than the Wolf of Wall Street. That's going to start at noon. In the meantime, we're going to give a couple of giveaways. So what do we got here? How many people do we have in here? Apple users. Okay. So we got quite a few people on Apple. All right. So 30 more seconds you have, and then we'll do this giveaway, and then we'll try to get one more giveaway in before we go live with the training. And I actually start the training. Okay, cool. All right. So here we go, guys. I'm going to pick one winner. And the very non-scientific way I do it is I close my eyes, I scroll through the comments, and whatever my mouse lands on, that's the winner. Okay. So we're going to randomly pick a winner. My eyes are closed, and the winner is nobody. I didn't have it on the right thing. So hold on a minute. We're going to try this again. The winner is Cynthia Moore. Cynthia Moore. Cynthia, congratulations. Actually, she did say do it right. She said, Cynthia subscribed, Apple subscribed, rated, and reviewed. Congratulations, Cynthia Moore. You are the winner of the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Here's all you got to do very quickly. Listen, go to the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page, like the page, and then message me your full name, your full address, and your size. This is a large. They're unisex sizing. This is a large. I weigh about 190, 195 pounds. So size accordingly. And you need to let me know that you won the Apple subscribe, rate, and review contest, the t-shirt contest. Okay. Let me know that. All you got to do is hit me up in the messenger from my Facebook page, and I will definitely ship this out to you again in the next couple of weeks. Congratulations, Cynthia. Cynthia, so happy that you won. You were the first to act. And so for that, to the victor goes the spoils. For everybody else, thank you for playing along. Here's another giveaway. Okay, we're going to run into another giveaway really quick. So hopefully we can get this done. All right, so here's all you got to do. I want you to go over to my, hold on. I'm going to pull it up here. I want you to go, anybody else who wants to participate in this, whether you're an iPhone user or whether you're an Android user or whether you're a desktop user, it doesn't matter. I want you to go over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Freight Brokers. Okay. You'll see, Freight Broker Bootcamp logo, my bald head somewhere in there. It'll kind of stick out, probably a little shiny like it is today. But I want you to go on there and I want you to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and then don't leave yet. You've got to click the bell where it says all notifications. Okay. This is going to notify you through your device whenever a new freight broker training video comes out. This is important. If you just subscribe, you may or may not see those videos in your feed. But if you hit the notification bell, you're going to get notified every time I do a live, every time I do release a new video. And I release new content on that channel every single week. Okay. So you got to subscribe, and then you've got to hit the bell for all notifications. And then what I want you to do is I want you to come back into the comments and let me know that you subscribed on YouTube and you hit the bell for all notifications. That's all you got to do. Come back in the comments, let me know, and I'm going to give away another one of the shirts. We're going to do a Freightpreneur t-shirt, okay? I'll give away another Freightpreneur t-shirt. Then we're going to jump into the training. We've only got a few minutes, so act quickly because I want to try to start the training on time For those of you that are waiting, hold patiently. We will start the training in just a few minutes. And again, the format is we're doing this giveaway, then we're doing the training, and then at the end, we're going to do live Q&A. So if you stick around to the end, we will do some live Q&A. All right? So congrats, Cynthia, on the Apple podcast. Who is going to be the winner of the YouTube subscribe contest? Who's going to get the t-shirt? All right. So go to youtube.com/freight brokers, subscribe, and then hit the bell for all notifications. You can do this on your phone. You can do this on your iPad. You can do this on your desktop, computer. It doesn't matter. Go there. And Tiara, you got to let me know you subscribed on YouTube and you hit the bell. So that's important. If you didn't do that, if you don't write that and you didn't do that, then I can't pick I can't pick you, right? Just like two common connect direct. You got to let me know you subscribed on YouTube and you hit the bell. Okay. Try to follow instructions. I know I'm picky about this, but when I scroll down through to pick one winner, I got to know what I'm picking. I got to know what contest it was. Okay. So it's very important. YouTube subscribed, hit the bell. There you go. Perfect. That's all you got to do. Awesome. All right. So we got a bunch of people that are subscribing to YouTube for a chance to win the t-shirt. We're going to give it about one more minute, about a minute or so, and then we're going to go live. And once again, today the topic is how to sell better than Jordan Belfort from The Wolf of Wall Street. For those of you that aren't aware of that, I'll give you a brief intro once we do start the training. And we're going to go over some really fundamental things that every freight broker needs to learn about sales if you're going to be successful. Okay. So I'm going to grab a drink while you guys are doing that. We're going to do this last giveaway and then we're going to start the training. Okay. Anybody else drink this? Oh my God, I love this. I'm addicted to this. Sparkling ice. Zero sugar, zero with antioxidants and anti-vitamins. I love this thing. It's awesome. I buy it on Amazon. Super cheap. It's awesome. I don't know. They're not a sponsor. But I do love them. You guys probably see me drinking it all the time. All right. So what do we got here? We got a bunch of people that subscribed. Okay. All right. What do we got? All right. 30 more seconds. And then we're going to do the YouTube subscribe and notifications giveaway. Okay. So 30 seconds. You guys hit that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube and you hit the notification to get all notifications. Hit the notification bell, and that'll make sure that you're made aware of anytime I release new training on that. There's over 100 free training videos on that channel. I've been doing this a long time, guys. There's over 100 free training videos. My YouTube channel is probably worth 10 times more than most freight broker training programs that charge. Okay. I give away more free content than most freight broker training programs have in their paid channel. Okay. And their paid program. So anyway, little dig on some of the competitors out there, but whatever. All right. So here we go. We're going to do the giveaway. I'm going to scroll down through. We're going to randomly pick one winner for the Freightpreneur t-shirt, and the winner for the YouTube subscribe contest is, couldn't read it, to Connect Direct. Subscribed on YouTube and hit the bell. Awesome. You followed directions. You qualified for the prize, and now you won it. You are going to get the Freightpreneur t-shirt. All you have to do, quickly listen to what I'm saying here. Go to the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page. First, like the page, and then message me through that page with your full name, your mailing address, and that you won the YouTube subscribe t-shirt giveaway. And then make sure you include your size. So your full name, your address, that you won the YouTube subscribe t-shirt giveaway, and make sure you include your size, and I will make sure that this goes out to you. It usually takes about a week to 2 weeks for it to get out delivered by the time they process it and all, but be patient. The shirts will go out, I promise. And thank you so much for everybody who played along. I try to do these giveaways every week. They become very, very popular, especially the shirt giveaway. Sometimes I give away cash. Sometimes I give away swag. Sometimes I give away whatever. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you, everybody who joined me early. We're going to be starting the training here in about a minute or two. We got people getting live. And thank you, everybody who's joining. Thank you, everybody who's participating. I think you're going to be excited today because today is going to be a very interesting training. You can see here, I got a ton of notes. I got what do I got here? Well, if I could scroll through it. I got 1, 2, 3, 3 pages of notes that I need to go over today. So this is an action-packed training, okay? There's a lot of information in here. And again, I hope you guys can follow along. But the topic of today's training is how to sell better than the Wolf of Wall Street, okay? So we're going to do a really neat exercise that I think is going to be a very good teachable moment for everybody listening today, okay? So hold tight. We're going to get started in just a minute. In the meantime, hit me up in the comments with the city and state that you're logging in from. Let me know where you're logging in from. For those of you that don't know, I'm in the Buffalo, New York area, Clarence to be exact, a little suburb outside of Buffalo, born and raised here in Western New York. Let me know where you're logging in from. We'll try to do a few quick shout outs before we start the training, and then we'll get the ball rolling. And then at the end, after the training, we are going to go and do live Q&A. So stick around to the end. All right, so we got a bunch of people. So we've got, Austin Embry from Phoenix, DJ Crime from Riverside, California, Jogi from Washington, D.C., Nicole from Philly, PA, the KC family from St. Louis, Missouri, To Connect Direct, the big winner from Orlando, Florida, Trevor Blair from Los Angeles. We got Devin Coleman from Markham, Illinois. Jeez. We've got Raida Del Sol from King City, California. Dahlia from St. Lucius, Florida. We got Deborah Smith from Buffalo, New York, from my hometown. We've got Austin Embry in the house. Thank you so much. We got Rajinder from Southgate, Michigan. Shahirazad from Dayton, Ohio. Faith from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Sandy from Arlington, Texas. Dennis Mueller from Kiev, Ukraine. We got people from Ukraine. That's amazing. Man, that's crazy. Amazing. So happy that you're here and safe, apparently. We've got Kami from Waco, Texas. We got Malaya Turner from Indianapolis, Indiana. Janessa from Long Island, New York. We got Rock from Maryland. La Familia LLC from Chicago. I have a feeling he might be Italian. We got Chanel Crump from Zion, Illinois. Cynthia Moore from District Heights, Maryland. Another one of the winners today of the giveaway. Man, we got people from all over the place. Thank you so much. I'm humbled that you are here and truly, truly appreciate your time because I know your time is valuable, okay? And I don't take that for granted. So we're going to get started in just a minute here. And the topic is we're going to do some freight broker sales training. We're going to teach some fundamentals that every freight broker and every freight agent needs to learn, okay? Really, really important. Let me make sure that I've got my settings and my audio and everything's good. You guys can hear me good. The video's good. We have to remove this from the screen. Let's see. Hide the comments. Okay. Give me 1 second and we will be ready. Okay, cool. All right. So today I'm going to share with you how to sell better than the Wolf of Wall Street. Got a lot of notes to go over, okay? So I'm going to be referring back to these notes occasionally because I want to make sure I touch on some of these key points. Now, before we get started, for those of you that don't know, The Wolf of Wall Street was a very famous, well-known, even infamous movie about the rise and fall of Jordan Belfort on Wall Street, okay? Now, first, let me say something. I got to get it out there. I want you to understand something. I'm not condoning anything that he did in that movie. I'm not promoting doing anything illegal. He's not somebody that I even really admire, other than the fact that it's a great comeback story that you're going to learn a little bit about today, if you don't already know. But I want to get that out at the beginning. What I think this is good for is a very teachable moment. There's a very specific moment in the movie when he walks up to a gentleman and he says, "Sell me this pen." So that's what we're going to tackle today. We're going to use this as a teachable moment for you as a freight broker or a freight agent or someone who wants to become a freight broker or freight agent to learn some of the fundamentals that every freight broker, freight agent, and salesperson in any industry needs to learn if you're going to be successful, okay? So again, in the movie, he goes and says, "Sell me this pen," right? And what the person doesn't understand is that it's really a trap, because most people, there's really two ways to answer this question. What most inexperienced salespeople or freight brokers or freight agents do is they would start selling the features of this pen, right? So they'd say, "Oh, the pen is black. It fits in your pocket. It's got blue ink. It's light. It's a Bic brand. They're going to start selling the features of the pen, right? And that's a huge mistake because people don't buy features. So what I want you to understand is that top producers in any industry as salespeople, whether you're a freight broker or freight agent, are going to treat this situation and are going to attack this situation differently than newbies, right? So I want you to understand one of the biggest reasons, and that's one of the biggest reasons why there are top producers, because they do things a little bit different. And so today I'm going to share with you some of those things. And I think, again, the biggest mistake that new people in sales make, whether you're a freight broker or freight agent, is they focus on selling features. Again, they talk about the color, they talk about the features, they talk about, the brand, how light it is, it fits in your pocket, that sort of thing. But what top producers do is, they are focused on finding a need or finding pain that prospect is currently having. And there's really only one way you can do that. And that is to start asking good questions. Rather than vomiting all over your prospect and just feature, which is what most people do, they start asking good questions. The objective here is to qualify your prospect, because if you cannot find a need, if you cannot find any pain, if there is no need, then you should stop selling. Okay? You can't sell to people who do not have a need. I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands of hours that salespeople waste trying to sell to somebody who doesn't have a need, right? So if somebody buys a brand new car yesterday, they don't have a need for a brand new car today. If someone just bought a brand new pen, a really nice pen today, then they don't have a need for that, a new one tomorrow. So selling to somebody who doesn't have a need makes absolutely no sense and was one of the biggest mistakes and one thing that new people in sales do. So if I were going to sell you this pen, if I were in that situation where Jordan had asked me to sell the pen, the first thing I would do is ask him a few questions. Like, for example, a couple of the questions I might ask is, how long have you been in the market for a new pen? That's an example. He's going to answer that question one of two ways. He's going to say, I'm not in the market for a new pen, in which case I might try to qualify him and say, do you think you might be in the market for a new pen in the next 30, 60, 90 days? If he says no to both of those questions, I'm going to stop selling because I can't force the sale. They have to have need. They have to have pain. So that's a perfect example of if I tried to sell somebody the pen and they answered with that response, they have no need and they're not going to have any need, I immediately stop selling and I move on to the next person to find the person who has the need, who has the pain. Some other questions you might ask is, how do you plan to use this pen in your business or personal life? Right? So knowing that is an important question, right? You need to understand. You need to gather some information so you can present the right solution. Another question that you might ask when you're selling a pen is, what type of pens have you typically bought in the past? Or what's the most you've ever spent on a really nice pen? So these are just examples of questions, right? I don't even care if you remember these questions. What I care about is that you as a freight broker, you as a freight agent, understand that you need to qualify your prospects. And the best way to do that is to ask good questions. Okay. So once you've qualified your prospect that they do have a need or there is some sort of pain, right? That's, you're going to continue to gather some sales intelligence. You need to sell. What you need to understand is you're not selling features. You need to sell a solution that allows them to move away from pain and towards pleasure. Human nature works like this. We are driven by one of two things: avoiding pain or seeking pleasure. Unfortunately, more people will go further faster to avoid pain than they will seek pleasure. So the fact is, asking these questions, gathering this type of sales intelligence is extremely powerful. It helps you to put together a solution. Rather than selling features, you're able to sell a solution that allows them to move away from pain or gain pleasure. So at the end of that, I might say something like, based upon what you've told me, Mr. Smith, I believe this pen, right? I believe this pen is a perfect fit for you. And here's why. Imagine these two scenarios. One scenario is you walk into a very important meeting to close a $10,000 deal, and you go to sign the deal with this Bic generic $69 pen. That's scenario A. Scenario B is you walk into that meeting to sign the biggest deal of your life, okay? And you're carrying this pen, a very nice, high quality pen. Tell me, which one is going to give you more confidence and is going to increase your likelihood of closing that deal? And of course, they're going to answer this pen. And so at that point, I agree with them and I say, hey, I agree. That's exactly why I think you should invest in this pen today. It makes no sense to take a chance of losing a big deal, a $10,000 deal, because you want to save a few pennies by buying a 69-cent pen. This pen here is the pen that can help you close big deals all day long. And so, do you agree? And they're going to nod their head and you're going to say, okay, great. So what's the best address for me to ship that to? I'll make sure I expedite that order. Now, I went through that very quick and it was a bit off the cuff, but I do want you to understand the importance, right? There are 3 or 4 really core things that we went over. I want to summarize some of what we've talked about today, the lessons that I want you to take from this. Number 1, stop selling features. And note, price is just a feature, okay? Stop selling features. That's number 1. Number 2, qualify first and stop selling people who do not have a need, who do not have pain. Stop wasting your time. Focus your time on people who do have a need, because those are the people that are going to become your customers. And number 3, gather information and then gather sales intelligence. Gather information by asking good questions and then present a solution that allows them to move away from pain and towards pleasure, okay? So there was actually only 3, right? There's probably some other ones in there, but those are the 3 I want to point out. So yes, we've been talking about a pen today, okay? An inanimate object. It's not a service like freight brokerage, but I want you to understand these lessons apply to any industry, to any product. They cross all genres, okay? And that's why I wanted to do this today. And as a freight broker, a freight agent, you need to understand the core lessons that I've shared with you today. You see, the hard part for me is really trying to dig in with you in a short form video training like this, right? In a short format like this, it's very hard for me to dig in. But the good news is that I created a program last year after over a decade of waiting and not putting it together called my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator Program. Now, this is let me put it up on the screen here really quick. This is a 5-week program where I take this piece of my brain and share with you everything that you need to know about how to get shippers, sales strategies, sales mindset, sales tactics, sales systems, the entire ball of wax. And I share that with you, right? And I share the things that helped me to do over $200 million as a freight broker, right? Now, after you complete this program, you're going to have not only the confidence, but you're going to have the skills and the systems to go out and build a 7-figure plus freight brokerage. All right. So the program is scheduled to release very soon. I mean, very soon. So hint, wink, just know it's going to be launching very, very soon. But the only way that you can be a part of this program is if you get on the wait list. So there's the link for the wait list, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/wait list. If you get on that wait list, you will be the first to get notified when I open enrollment for that new training. And just know, I limit this to 100 spots. There's only 100 people allowed in this program at a time because it involves me personally, right? I'm personally involved in here coaching and teaching and helping you for 5 weeks, okay? So if you want to get a chance to be a part of that program, just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. If you're not quite ready for that and you're just looking to get started as a freight broker and you're just getting started, feel free to go check out my startup program. It's called Freight Broker Bootcamp. It'll teach you A to Z exactly how you get started, start getting some positive cash flow, and start moving that needle to launch your freight broker, freight agent business. trained over 10,000 students through that program, have a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee, unconditional. So if you're looking for help with sales and getting clients, get on the wait list for the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. If you're looking for startup help, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. And thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next week. Now, for those of you that are sticking around for the live Q&A, hold tight, okay? Hold tight. I want you to hold tight on the Q&A. But I can't stress enough, if you are struggling to get shippers as a freight broker or a freight agent and you're not on my wait list, you're a fool. I can't say it any other way. This is the best program I've ever put together. Hands down, no question. All the trainings you see me doing on YouTube and in my paid course and anywhere else you see me do trainings, the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator pales in comparison to that. We've had over 100 people that have completed a survey. It's probably closer to a couple hundred. I don't know the exact number. We've had probably a couple hundred people that have completed a survey after we completed the program. Once they completed the program and they were done. And we asked them to rate the program 1 to 10. 1 being a horrible experience and it's a terrible training, 10 being the absolute best. You'll never guess what the average rating was. With close to, I think, about a couple hundred people that have completed that survey, the average rating is a 9.5 plus, okay? 9.5 out of 10. Now, that's not me doing the survey. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I was hoping for an 8, okay? I probably would have settled for a 7.5, but it's a 9.5. So if you need help getting customers and you need help with learning the proper sales skills and mindset and systems and tools, you owe it to yourself. Get on the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator waitlist. Now, understand one thing. It's free to get on the waitlist, but the program is not free. Okay, I'm going to be totally upfront with you. The program is not free. Last time it was $1,000, okay, which is the program's worth well over 10 times that. The price may or may not go up this time. I haven't finalized it, but here's what I know. You're never going to get a chance unless you're on the wait list, because the last time this program sold out 100 people in like 2 or 3 days. So it's going to sell out very quick. And the reason why I've done this, I have to do the wait list, is because if I don't do the wait list, it'll oversell like that. And I want to give everybody who's serious about this a chance to be a part of this program. Okay. So I can't stress it enough. Enough said. We don't need to dive into that any further. So here's what we're going to do. All right. So here we go, guys. Questions. If you have questions about this training, if you have questions about anything to do with becoming a successful freight broker, freight agent, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'm going to do my best. Here's one thing I know. I may miss your question. I may not get to your question. I do my best. I get inundated with a ton of questions in these lives. And so ultimately, I can't promise I'll get to your question today, but I do try to come back in here later in the week and answer questions. Plus, I will be back next week, and you always can jump back in and ask that question later. If you're a member of Freight Broker Bootcamp, a paid member, you've got access to support. You can just send a message to our support team. They'll answer the question. If they can't answer the question, they'll forward it to me and I'll answer the question. Okay. So if you're a paid member, that's a huge benefit. You can get, as a platinum member, you get lifetime access and lifetime support, which means the questions and challenges you have now as a broker or startup broker are going to be very different than the questions you have 6, 12, 18, 24 months, 5 years from now. But we're still here to answer those questions. Okay. We're here for the long haul. That's the reason why I suggest the Platinum program. It's a lifetime membership. Okay. And with lifetime access, lifetime support. All right, cool. So let's jump into some questions. Thank you for the kind words, Lucille. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your kind words. So happy I could do this. Trying to become a freight broker. Love your videos. Thank you so much. Hope you're a member of the Freight Broker Bootcamp. Okay, so let's jump in here. All right, so here's a question. Florida Living landed some people willing to let us bid. They're a billion-dollar companies. However, they require $250,000 contingent cargo and $2 million contingent auto, general liability $2 million, air and emissions for $2 million, and cost and 10K cost buy. Okay, so what's the question? I don't know what the question is. Congratulations. I'll give you my perspective. If you are not already generating cash flow, right? If you're not already generating cash flow from your business, from other customers that don't require you to jump through all these hoops, which is the majority of customers out there, okay? The heavy majority of customers do not require anywhere near this. They don't even require contingent cargo, okay? I'd say 8 or 9 out of 10 of the customers we did business with didn't even require contingent cargo, okay? So ultimately, if you haven't started providing cash flow yet in your business, I wouldn't do this. I would hold off till later until you do have cash flow. There's plenty of customers out there that you can do business with without having to jump through all this and spend all that money and risk all that capital. Personally, I wouldn't do it if I were in a startup situation, unless you just have a significant amount of capital to invest and you just don't feel, even then I probably wouldn't do it. So I hope that answers your question. DJ Krim asks, will there be a discount for people already registered to the Freight Broker Bootcamp? No. Freight Broker Bootcamp members don't get a special discount. This is a totally separate program. And because I have to limit the spots, again, I want the people that really need this the most to be a part of it. It's a good question. Maybe in the future, we might try to do something like that. I did, I have kept the price down because of inflation and because of COVID and all that. I should absolutely be selling this program for $2,000 or $3,000. I should be, but I'm not. I haven't been. The last couple of times I sold it for $997, one-time cost, lifetime access, and 5 weeks of me coaching you, which is an absolute joke, right, of a price. So yeah, no discounts for Freight Broker Bootcamp members as of now. Okay, so here's a question from Austin Embry. Hey, Dennis, what do you think is the best time of day to call? Well, let me give you the worst times of day to call, okay? When everybody else is calling. So I know you have to call throughout the day, but here's the thing. There is no best. There really is no best. But I will tell you that I have found that off times can sometimes lead to better contacts. Before 8 a.m., after 4 p.m. Now, a lot of people won't get in and do that. And the reason why those times can be valuable and why you definitely do not want to waste those times is because the phone's not ringing off the hook. You see, from 8 to 4, the phone is probably ringing off the hook with customers, with people on their team, with vendors, with brokers, with salespeople, right? And so sometimes it's very challenging for them to even answer the phone. That's why you get a lot of voicemail. But what I've found is if you call before 8 a.m. or after 4 p.m., most times the shipping manager is wearing so many hats, they're not going to get out on time. They're going to sit down at their desk. They're going to decompress. They're going to hit all their check boxes, and they're going to start planning the next day, hopefully. And so that might be an opportunity. So those are a couple of times when you might want to consider calling. But other than that, during the normal day, 8 to 4, it's pretty much all equal. So I wouldn't get caught too much in it, but I would definitely add some time before 8 a.m. and after 4 or 5 p.m. All right. So hope that helps. Good question. Okay. So here's the good news, Sandy. Her question is, what's the first thing I do to write up a proposal, or how do I write a proposal? Do you have a startup proposal email? All right. So here's the good thing. There is no such thing really as a proposal in freight brokerage. You're not writing this. You're not creating a big PowerPoint presentation. You're not creating a 20-page contract. You're not doing anything crazy like that. In most cases, after you've spoken to the shipper, they're going to give you some specific lanes to quote on, right? Maybe they give you 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, or maybe they give you an entire bid package in the form of a spreadsheet or some sort of document. The proposal that you send to them is really 2 things. One is your pricing. 2 is your capacity, your ability to cover those loads, right? So you don't bid on things, you don't compete on lanes where you don't feel comfortable being able to cover it. Because if they give you that freight, their expectation is you're going to accept the load and you're going to move the load on time in good condition with no problems. So don't compete on lanes where you don't where you don't feel comfortable, you're going to be able to cover the freight for the price you've quoted. So proposals are really typically more rate quotes. So in a lot of cases, they come in the form of a spreadsheet that the shipper will send you, like a bid or lane package, or it can be as informal as just sending an email over with those lanes and that specific details related to pricing and capacity, letting them know, hey, I could cover 1 of these a day or 2 of these a day or 10 of these a day, with 24, with 48 to 72 hour lead times, right? So pricing proposals are typically very informal. If they do become formal, then the actual shipper will give you a formal online bid process of some sort, whether that be a spreadsheet or whether that be some sort of a website that you'll go to bid. So I hope that helps. Don't let this proposal thing scare you. It's really very simple, intuitive. All right, so I think I already answered that question. Okay, so here's a question from Nardell. Nardell asks, I'm waiting for my broker license to be active. Until it happens, I can't talk with shippers, right? Well, here's the thing. You could. There's nothing legally that says you can't talk to shippers. But the challenge comes in is, let's say, for example, I'm a shipper and you call me and we hit it off and do really well. And then I say, hey, listen, I got a load going tomorrow from A to B. You want to haul it? And you say, I don't have my freight broker authority yet, and you lose all credibility. Okay, so I would say you're probably not going to want to do a bunch of sales calls prior to being able to actually provide the service. So it's a good question. It's not illegal, but it's really not highly advised, especially in a sales format. Okay. I think I answered that question, Florida Living. I wouldn't get all that insurance unless you have significant amount of cash flow already. If you're a startup and this is your first customers, I probably wouldn't do it. But if you got enough cash flow to reinvest in that and you're really confident with the opportunity, then sure, go ahead, have at it. Okay, so Randeep asks, I applied for my freight broker authority. They issued me the MC number. Can you use the MC number yet? When you first apply for your authority, apply for your license, they're going to issue you an MC number. But that MC number is not active. So when you first start and you apply for the authority, you're going to get an MC number. But until you connect all the dots with your BOC3 and your freight broker bond and all the check boxes, right? UCR and all those check boxes, and they approve you, that authority is not active. You have an MC, but you don't have an active MC. So no, you cannot use an inactive MC until they activate it. And they're going to let you know that once it is active. Okay, so Rajinder asks, how would you qualify a shipper if they have their own fleet of trucks? Simple. I call you up. You say, oh, Dennis, we've got our own fleet of trucks. All I'm going to say is very simple. Has there ever been a situation in the past when you haven't been able to or you didn't want to put a load on one of your trucks? Invariably, the answer to that question is yes. There's places they don't want to send their trucks, okay, because it's way out of the way, too expensive and difficult. And there's also times when they've had more demand to get freight out than they probably have trucks. So if you ask a simple question like that, if they say, no, that's never happened, there's no need. You can't sell to somebody who doesn't have a need. But if you ask them that simple question, has there ever been a situation in the past when you were not able to put freight on your truck, or you wish you didn't have to load your own truck on specific lanes or for specific customers? Has that ever happened? If their answer is no, then there's no need. Thank them and say goodbye. Or, maybe you say in the future, do you think you might have that need in the next 60, 90 days? If they say no to that, then the answer is no. Check them off the list. If they say, Yeah, that's happened sometimes. Now you've got a door. Now the door is open. Now it may be a small opening in that door, but it's something for you to follow up on. And then at that point, try to convert into a deeper conversation. So I hope that helps. New York State, when you become a freight broker, you're not licensed by New York State. You're licensed by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. So you have a federal license, which means your authority and your license allows you to operate in all 50 states in the United States. So you don't need a separate license in every state. As a dispatcher, I have no idea. If you're going to do it legally, you're probably going to have to get your freight broker authority, right? There's a lot of questions out there. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but there's a big gray area about are independent dispatchers that represent dozens of different carriers legal? And most people say it's not legal, it's unauthorized brokering. Okay. And if you just logically follow it through, it is, because the definition of a broker is someone who arranges transportation as a third party by connecting shippers and carriers. And that's exactly what a dispatcher is doing. They're just doing it without a license. So I don't want to get into that debate, but yeah, you don't need a license in each state. You'll have a federal license from the FMCSA. Okay, I disagree, Dennis. Carriers don't like new brokers. Some carriers don't like new brokers, but not all carriers. Here's how I know. Because every one of the success stories that's come out of Freight Broker Bootcamp has been brand new with a brand new MC number. Okay, they're brand new with a brand new MC number. All of everybody that I can remember had a brand new MC number, but yet they overcame that hurdle. So yeah, there are some carriers that don't necessarily want to run with a new broker because maybe their factoring company won't do business with them, or they're just, they're concerned about getting paid, or maybe they don't think they have the experience, or maybe they've had a bad experience. But I assure you, there are tons of carriers out there that will haul for you as a broker if you're brand new, if you build that trust. So the question is really, how do I build trust with carriers? So building trust with carriers is no different than building trust with anybody else. You have to give them a reason. You have to build some rapport. You got to find some common ground. You got to be willing to help them and provide value to them, right? Third-party validation, things of that nature, from other carriers or from other shippers or from other people inside the industry will help, right? Building up your credit is obviously going to help. So those are just some examples of how you can overcome how being a new broker, which is what everybody goes through. Randy Best, once you get your shippers, do you have to cold call for motor carriers too? No, you're typically not cold calling for motor carriers. What you are doing is you are calling typically from load boards. So you are going to be posting your loads to load boards, and load boards is like a hub where carriers and brokers come together. So you're going to be posting your loads, carriers are going to be calling on your loads, and then they're going to post their trucks and you're going to call on their trucks. So if I had a load from Buffalo to Atlanta for a van, I would go to the load board, I'd post my load, people would start calling me. But I would also search for trucks that are looking to go from vans that are looking to go from Buffalo to Atlanta. And then I would start calling those companies because those are trucks that carrier has posted. So it's not a cold call at that point. They want me to call them. Okay. So that's how most freight is covered. And then once you develop a relationship with those carriers and you get another Buffalo to Atlanta load, well, then you can call those carriers. It's not a cold call because you already have a relationship with them. You already had a conversation with them. Whether they moved it or not, you now know that that's a lane that they run on a regular basis. And so that makes it, that's typically how it works. Hope that helps. Okay, so to connect direct, new broker trying to get shippers. When calling shippers, should we send the shipper packet on the first call, or should I wait until the relationship is formed? Well, all right, I'm going to be honest with you. The shipper packet really means little or nothing. Until they want to do business with you, the shipper packet really doesn't mean a whole lot. Now, most people send it on the first call, but they send it after asking permission to send it on the call. They might say they have a great conversation. and they have a follow-up appointment scheduled that they're going to get back to them with some pricing. And they say, hey, listen, is it okay if I were to send you our setup pack? That way you could review all our credentials and see all our information. Yes. Then you send it to them. If they say no, don't send it to them. Okay. They're not going to say no if you built rapport. So in most cases, you probably will send it on the first call, but just know they're not going to read it. They're not going to look at it until you build enough know, like, and trust that they're about to do business with you. Okay. They're just not going to. That's the reason why putting together a 20-page shipper packet makes absolutely no sense. Keep it simple. Keep things very, very simple. Somebody opens up a packet that's 20 pages. Nobody wants to read that. We all have ADD. Cut to the chase. Get to the bottom line. All right. They're not going to read it anyway until you've already jumped over all the hurdles that they're going to require before they're going to set you up as a vendor. So when you send it isn't usually a big deal. As long as you ask permission and you've built rapport. Sometimes that'll happen on the first call, the second call, the third call, but in most cases it'll probably happen on the first call. So don't get caught up too much in that. It's not a big issue. Richard, thank you. I'm so glad that you're happy with the info. Rajinder asks, how do you develop capacity when you're starting out? Load boards, the DAT and truck stop. Okay, the DAT and truck stop. Those are the two places that you're going to, and there are other direct freight and truckloads.com and there's a whole bunch of other load boards out there. The two biggest are truck stop, DAT, and let's say Get Loaded, right? So you're going to do searches based on available trucks now. You're going to do historical lane searches based on the past 60, 90 days of carriers that have posted trucks in those lanes based on that equipment. And you're going to start calling and developing relationships with those people. That's how you're going to develop carrier relationships initially. Here's a question from Florida Living. Do you think reaching out to a shipper via email and then phone call every 3 days until they answer the call or the email is answered is a waste of time? What's the line when you stop? What's the line when you stop for a month or two? Okay. So interesting question, Florida Living. So the core of your question is, does it make sense to use a multi-channel approach? Will it improve my connection rate if I use a multi-channel approach? Now, what I mean by a multi-channel approach is most freight brokers, most salespeople just use the phone. Some of them will add in email. Others may add in social media like LinkedIn, and some may use face-to-face, and others might even do direct mail. So those are probably the 5 primary channels that you're going to use to do outreach to your shippers. Now, it's just a math equation. If you have 100 leads and you just use the phone, and I have 100 leads and I use 3 different channels, including the phone, email, and LinkedIn, who do you think is going to get through? What percentage of those 100 am I going to get through to in 30 days versus what percentage are you going to get through to of those 100 in 30 days? Statistically speaking, what I've seen is that I will make a lot more contacts. I will start a lot more dialogues. I will have a lot more conversations. I will build rapport with a lot more people. I will do a lot more freight quotes, and ultimately I will get a lot more business because I'm using a multi-channel approach. Now, it's interesting that you mentioned that because that is a core component. That is one of the core components, one of the primary lessons in my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program is having a touch point outreach system. And I go through the entire process of how that works, including the sales cadence and everything, because that's an important part of developing relationships, of connecting with people, of cold calling, of building your leads, of building your sales funnel. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to stress that enough, but if that is a question you have, if that's a challenge you're having, or that's something you want to learn more about, make sure you sign up for the Sales Accelerator waitlist. Okay. It's a perfect opportunity to reintroduce this. So for those of you that didn't hear it, or maybe you joined late, I'm going to be launching the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator very, very soon. Okay. Take the hint, very soon. And If you're on that list, you're going to get a chance to join the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, which is the 5-week program where I take that piece of my brain, I transplant it into your head, and I teach you all my best sales strategies, tactics, tools, systems, the whole ball of wax, teaching you how to get shippers using modern sales strategies. Okay. And so I hope that helps. So yeah, definitely get on the wait list. Okay. Okay, so here's a basic question from Felicia. Good question. Thanks for asking, Felicia. What is the difference between a freight agent and a freight broker? Okay, really simple. A freight broker is licensed by the FMCSA to broker freight, to arrange transport from shippers between shippers and carriers. They are the licensed entity, okay, that the FMCSA allows to broker freight between shippers and carriers, okay? A freight agent is typically that someone that works under them, either as an employee or in most cases, an independent contractor that works under that freight broker's authority on a revenue share commission only basis. They typically get paid somewhere between 50 and 70% of the profit on any given load as a freight agent, but they don't need to be licensed. They don't need to have a bond. They don't need to do any of that. They would partner with a licensed freight broker and they would be able to make 50 to 70% of all the loads on any customer loads that they generate. Okay. So it's a freight agent is really an entrepreneur or a solopreneur. A freight broker is an entrepreneur, a business owner that's licensed by the FMCSA. Freight agents, will handle the day-to-day. They'll call and get shippers. They'll move the freight from point A to point B. And then the broker is the one who's responsible for licensing and insurance and billing and collections and technology and risk management and training and marketing and all that. So it's a partnership, right? They work in partnership. So I hope that helps. Here's what I would suggest. I would suggest you work with one factoring company because in most cases, they're not going to allow you to have multiple. And what I would do is go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog and then search for factoring. I have an entire blog post, in-depth training and details. And there's also a downloadable cheat sheet there that has the top 10 factoring companies for freight brokers. Okay. One that I can give you right now that works with startups all the time is Axle Payments, Axle Factoring. Okay. AXLE. Okay. So there are a bunch of others, but that should get you started. No, sales tax is not required. So there is no sales tax for freight brokers or freight agents. Okay. There is no sales tax. Thank God. Okay, so here's a question from Paul Brown, my cousin Paul Brown. Hey, Paul, how are you, buddy? Maybe your cousin. Who knows? You may have answered this. How to transfer from an owner-operator to a broker. Okay, well, here's the good news. As an owner-operator, you have a lot of the tools that will be extremely beneficial to becoming a freight broker. You already know the trucking lingo, okay? You already know what it takes to pick up a load and deliver it on time in good condition because that's what you do. You already know carriers. You already know shippers, right? You already know a lot of the information that a lot of new freight brokers don't know, including myself. When I started out, I had no clue. You know 10 times more about becoming a freight broker right now than I did when I first got started, okay? So as an owner operator or truck driver, if you want to become a freight broker, I can't give you an exact path, but you're going to probably, number one, you're going to have to get trained. Now that could be an online training like Freight Broker Bootcamp, or it could be a classroom training where you got to travel and take some time off work, whatever the case may be, but you got to get trained, right? On the details, on all the nuance. Number two, you got to file for your freight broker authority. This can all be done while you're still an owner operator. You don't need to quit your job until all this is done. And even then you could start doing this part-time if you chose. Now, part-time is a lot harder, right? It's obviously a lot harder because you're juggling a lot of balls. And as a truck driver, your hours are sometimes kind of wonky and it's difficult. So if you can, my suggestion would be get trained, get your freight broker authority, and then decide when you're going to make a break away from stop being a truck driver or owner operator to becoming a freight broker. Now, if you're an owner operator and you want to add a freight brokerage, you want to keep your truck and you also want to have your brokerage, you can do that too. It's only going to help you as an owner operator to grow your business, because as an owner operator, you can only haul one load at a time, right? Your wheels can only be under one load at a time. But if you've got shippers that have more demand than you have trucks, now you can broker those loads out. So yeah, I strongly suggest every carrier get their freight broker authority. I think you're a fool if not. I think you're a fool if you don't, because you're just missing out on opportunity. Just imagine if all you moved was a couple loads a week as an owner operator, plus your own revenue from your owner operator, you're literally probably going to double or triple your revenue. Okay. And profit. So yeah, I think it'd be a great move. So CWG podcast asks, when training new freight brokers that are green in the industry, what's the number one tip you would give them to get started? Learn how to sell. And this is not self-serving. I'm just telling you right now that the hardest skill to develop, the reason why most people will fail is they fail to learn the fundamentals of sales. That's why I spend so much time on it. That's why I created the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. Okay. That's the reason why I created it, because no matter how much startup training I gave them, no matter how much basic startup training I gave them and helped them launch their business, most people fail because they are not comfortable with, they don't have the right mindset, they don't have the right skills, they don't have the right strategies, and they don't have the right systems or tools to sell effectively. So that's it. That's the advice I would give startups, right? New brokers to the industry. Invest in sales, invest in learning how to sell. Okay. And one of the fastest ways you can do that from someone who's done over $200 million as a freight broker is to get on the wait list so you get notified in the next week or so when I launch the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. It's not a free program. It's not a cheap program, but it's worth 10 times what you're going to pay for it. And it's limited to 100 spots. So it's going to sell out really, really fast. I wouldn't be surprised if it sells out in 24 to 48 hours. Okay. So get on the wait list for that. I'm scrolling through here, try to get some questions that I haven't answered. Okay, so question from Frank. I don't like to use factoring. I'm assuming he's saying that can hurt my customer and I relationship. That is my point. What do you think, Danny? Well, I'm Dennis, but it's okay. All right. So Frank, as for factoring, most freight brokers use factoring. Shippers are very comfortable using factoring. I would tell you that startup freight brokers, it's probably 8 out of 10 use factoring. Now, if you don't have to use factoring, then that's great. But if you do, don't let that stand between you. That's not going to be the difference as to whether you're successful or not. Matter of fact, it's a tool to help you be successful, right? So I would not have any reservations using factoring as a new broker. Now, do I think it's a long-term solution for brokers? No. I think that after a couple of years, once you build up your own credit and you can get your own credit line from a bank, you've got your own financials documented, you got some tax returns, I would probably go to the bank and try to get my own line of credit, which is what people will do, because factoring is a little bit expensive. But as a startup, it's very common, and shippers are used to it. I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, so here's a good question from Jarrell. Once you become a freight broker, is there a course you have to take to maintain your license? No, there is no test to get your license. There is no test or course to maintain your license. Once you are a licensed freight broker, as long as you keep the credentials as long as you keep your freight broker authority or your bond in good condition or in good standings, that you have your BOC3, you've got your UCR, you've got those check boxes covered. You'll always have your freight broker authority. Now, if you let those things lapse, then they're going to deem your authority inactive and you're not going to be able to do it anymore. But there is no test, there is no quiz, there is no certification. That's a misnomer. People believe that. It's not true. Some people have spread false narratives or false rumors about the fact that you need to be certified with their training program in order to be a freight broker. That's not true at all. Okay, so Radovan asks, I know someone who has a truck driver training school. What's the best approach to get contacts through him? Well, if you're just trying to build carrier contacts, that's great. But here's what you need to understand. Okay, so if you're a broker and and you got a relationship with a truck driver training school, my suggestion is just network with them and just tell them that you're willing to work with new drivers. If you are, that in itself will be a resource. I don't know if you're going to be able to pay him anything for giving you carriers. Again, you're going to have to, the other thing is just because you have these carrier relationships doesn't mean that the shippers that you prospect are going to be able to benefit from these relationships, because those carriers may run a totally different lane. They may have totally different equipment. Every shipper has their specific needs, right? If you're in the van niche, then you're only going to be dealing with van and reefer carriers, right? Because you can run a reefer as a van. You just shut the refrigerator unit off. But so anybody who's doing flatbed or heavy haul or, power only or any of that sort of stuff isn't really going to have any value to do. But I think it's worthwhile to network with them and just tell them that you're a freight broker willing to work with new carriers, because some freight brokers will not work with new carriers. Okay. So yeah, that might be the best way to do it. But I don't know if there's a way you can pay them or compensate them. I would just try to be a valuable asset to them and to their business. Maybe you could create some sort of a reciprocal type of referral relationship. I don't know. Give it some thought. Okay, guys, listen, I'm going to wrap it up for today. We've been on here for about over an hour so far. So listen, first of all, if you want to learn how to do freight broker sales, if you want to learn how to get shippers, if you want me to coach you for 5 consecutive weeks and teach you everything I know about sales, get on the wait list. It's going to be launching very soon. If you're brand new and you're just looking to get started and you're looking for the fundamentals on how to get started as a freight broker, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Trained over 10,000 students, been in business over a decade, and we have a 60-day unconditional 100% money back guarantee. Can't ask for much more than that. I hope you guys enjoyed this training. Again, today we went over with how to sell better than the Wolf of Wall Street. We talked about this pen, sell me this pen scenario. I hope you found value. There were 3 or 4 key nuggets that you could walk away from. If you enjoyed today's training, do me a huge favor before you leave. Like the stream wherever you're watching it, on Facebook or YouTube, and then make sure you share the stream. And make sure wherever you're watching this, make sure you subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification if you think I earned your subscription based on this training and all the value I provided today. For those of you that I didn't get to your question today, maybe I'll try to come back in later in the week or come back next Monday at noon when I'll do another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you soon.